Another major race tonight is the fight to fill the U.S. Senate seat held by the late Senator Dianne Feinstein.
Yeah, we've been closely following that now for months, and here are the top 4 leading candidates for the U.S. Senate race here in California. Republican and former MLB star Steve Garvey, Democratic Congresswoman Barbara Lee, Democratic Congresswoman Katie Porter, and Democratic Congressman Adam Schiff. And Andrea Flores joins us right now. She's in Southern California, where 3 of those leading U.S. Senate candidates are tonight. Andrea.
And you guys said it, we are here across the state, making sure that we are bringing those local and statewide issues to you, the viewers and the voters. Right now, we are in Glendale in Los Angeles as we continue to see these voters coming into this voting center here in Glendale. And as you can see behind me, it has been a steady stream of people coming in here all afternoon and into the evening. Of course, this is the late evening rush as folks get off work and make sure to cast their ballots before that 8 p.m. cutoff. And again, we want to remind you, this is a top 2 system. So the top 2 vote getters in today's primary will face off in the November election, regardless of party affiliation. So we are in California's 30th congressional district. Glendale is part of that district, and Adam Schiff represents that district. It also includes Pasadena, Burbank, West Hollywood, and Hollywood. We're going to be at his watch party later tonight in Hollywood to closely watch that race as well. But a little bit of background on Schiff. He is best known for taking a stand against Trump, and with Trump likely to be the Republican presidential nominee, many Schiff supporters believe he will protect democracy. He led the first impeachment trial. He was a high-profile member of the January 6th committee, and this brand of taking on Trump has really propelled him, given what's going on with the presidential elections. He has led in polls consistently, and we know that he has at least 75% of California's Democratic congressional delegation support, also support from former Senator Barbara Boxer and former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. So a long list of endorsements there. And we've been talking to voters all afternoon to see who they voted for, the issues that are most important to them, and what they'd like to see coming up in the next few years.
Our right, it's our responsibility, it's something we get to do. We can bring changes to the things that we see.
I've voted in every single election since I was 18, and I think it's very important for us to be engaged. I think you can't complain if you're not involved.
This one, I was very much curious in terms of, for one, like taking a look at each of the politicians and what they bring to the table, what they've already done, but also like where their policies kind of stand for. It's something that's really important to me as of right now is with their stance on Israel and Palestine right now. I'm someone that very much supports ending the war.
I want to make sure that we get some different people in, somebody that's not wasting money, somebody that understands what they're supposed to actually be doing.
And the big question tonight is, you know, Schiff has been leading the polls consistently for the better part of a year, and a lot of people now wondering who he's going to face in November. And we know that if Katie Porter advances, some say that it could be a cage fight between those 2 Democrats. We know Katie Porter is a progressive. We know Adam Schiff has been called more of a centrist. And Lizzie Mitri is live in Long Beach, where Katie Porter's watch party is taking place right now. And I know, Lizzie, you have been covering the Congresswoman's race very closely. So what are people out there saying tonight?
Well, Andrea, the party hasn't quite started yet, but we are live here at 2nd and Pacific Coast Highway, right by this beautiful marina. You can see the sun is setting right now. This is the view from the Bungalow. It's a bar and lounge where Democratic Congresswoman Katie Porter will be hosting that election party later tonight. It's going to start when the polls close at about 8. The reception will be out here, and then she should be speaking later in the evening inside there. Porter was first elected to U.S. Congress back in 2018. After that, she was re-elected twice to represent the Orange County area. She flipped that seat that had previously only been held by Republicans before. Porter also made a name for herself in Washington by taking on big bank executives and tech CEOs, asking tough questions during congressional hearings with her signature whiteboard. reporter is a mother of 3 who lives just about 20 miles from where we are right now, actually. She lives in Irvine. The congresswoman is basically in a race for second right now, like Andrea mentioned, according to polls, which show she needs more Democrats to go out and vote, and particularly younger voters who could help sway things in her favor. So she has been trying to encourage people to vote, posting about it on X today, saying, don't forget, it is election day. But she could be in a tough spot. Experts say we could see a historically low turnout. And early data from PDI, a political data firm, showed most of the mail-in ballots returned as of yesterday were from older white voters. And, you know, we know there are many more registered Democrats here in the state than Republicans, but PDI also found that only about 15% of those registered Democrats had returned their mail-in ballots as of yesterday, compared with about 19% of Republicans. So that could help things for her Republican opponent, Steve Garvey. That's something we're going to keep an eye on for tonight. Reporting live here in Long Beach, Lizzie Mitri, KCRA 3 News.
Lizzie, this has been such an interesting race to follow. There's been a lot of national attention about exactly how this race has panned out. And we know that there have been a lot of different strategies here and a lot of national talk about strategy here for promoting a candidate. This was Schiff, promoting a candidate that would be easiest to beat. That would be Republican Steve Garvey. And we have Michelle Bandur, who is live in Palm Desert right now, covering Republican Steve Garvey. So, Michelle, how's it going out there?
Hey, good evening, Andrea. Yes, we're live here in Palm Desert. The stage is set for the U.S. Senate candidate Steve Garvey, who really hopes to be that first Republican to hold this Senate seat in more than 30 years. And it's interesting that you bring up his opponent, Adam Schiff, because watching the local news here, that's all I saw were the Adam Schiff campaign commercials talking about Steve Garvey. But again, no commercials from Steve Garvey, who hasn't spent any of his own personal money on this campaign. And campaign organizers tell me they expect a full house here tonight, more than 400 supporters who hope to hear that this former baseball player will make that starting lineup come November for the general election. Earlier today, we were at a polling place at one of the busiest polling places in Palm Desert. We watched a steady stream of voters head into the Portola Community Center for hours, and at times there were lines out the door. Many of the voters we spoke with say that they wanted to make sure they cast their ballot for the Republican Party for president and for the U.S. Senate seat. An election official says this particular polling place that we visited today had an 80% turnout.
People are concerned. People are concerned about their vote, about the process. The process has changed quite a bit, and there could be a little confusion, and that's why they want to be certain in terms of how they vote.
A Republican hasn't had that seat in more than 30 years. What are the chances?
I hope they're good. The one problem is people don't come out in the primaries. Yeah. You've got to come out in the primary. Because he's not, if he doesn't win, he's not on the other ballot.
I love Steve Garvey, and as you know, MVP of the MLB, he's great. And you know, if he can bring to Riverside County and the state of California what he brought to baseball, I'm all for it. You know, and we need leadership.
Do you think this is the shot?
No, I don't. I don't. It's going to be tough for him or any Republican to win that seat in California. It's just too Democratic right now. But hopefully it'll change.
Did you guys ever watch him play ball, Garvey?
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, what do you guys remember?
He was good. He was good. We won. The Dodgers won.
Yeah.
Yeah, and those twin sisters are actually going to be 80 years old next year, and they say that's why they wanted to, or next month, that's why they wanted to get their votes in. And those are the type of voters that the Steve Garvey campaign is banking on. They want to score with those type of voters for him to win a seat in the general election. Reporting live in Palm Desert, Michelle Bandur, KCRA 3 News.
It'll be interesting to see if Schiff's approach to this works and if we're going to see a matchup between Schiff and Garvey. Michelle, thank you so much. And of course, we are also keeping an eye on Congresswoman Barbara Lee's campaign tonight. We know that she is at her campaign headquarters in Oakland, and we are working to get video and bring you those live updates from her campaign as well. We will continue to follow all of the races, and for now, we'll send it back to you.
Absolutely. We should remind everybody that we're going to go wall to wall at 8 o'clock tonight with coverage. So, Andrea, we will be coming back to you often to get those reports. So we look forward to that. Thank you.